Hey y'all, it's Regina the Happy Crafter, and today I'm going to show y'all how I made these adorable Valentine's Day decor pieces. The love sign shown here, and this gnome shadow box. These were so easy and fun to make. First, you're going to need some felt. I chose red. And I'm dusting off the stuff. Okay, I took this little thing of ribbon and I'm using it as a template. So I took my little, I think I've had this for years. It's like a little thing that you would mark material with. I think it's like white chalk. And went around it and made me a template, a circle. Of course it wasn't dark enough, so I had to do it again. And then once you get your circle, and you can make it bigger or smaller. The bigger you make it, the bigger your rose is going to be. So then I cut it out. If you make it smaller, your roses are going to be a lot smaller. Yeah, these are so simple and easy to make. And then I took and started cutting in a spiral all the way around to the bottom. And also, y'all, I made this one about a 1/2 inch wide in my spiral. Just kind of measuring there to see how big I made it. And then I'm going to cut that little section off right there because I didn't quite get it cut out good. And then I'm going to go all the way around till I get closer to the bottom. And you don't have to leave a really big section on the spiral this big, or a rose this big. Actually, I think that's probably bigger than what I need, but it'll be okay. You can always cut it off or make it smaller at the end. And I take these pliers that I've had for years also. They're, I think, a jewelry making set of pliers. And then I take and start wrapping this around on itself. And also, I've seen a lot of people wrap into themselves, like wrap towards themselves, but I don't know. I'm left-handed and I don't know. This was easier for me to wrap it away from me. And then I wrap. And you don't have to keep these like really tight, but I did notice that once you started getting in a little further, it did get harder to wrap it. Sorry, I'm picking off little pieces of glue that was on my mat. That ended up on my felt. Felt will pick up a lot of stuff. Okay, so get it wrapped around there. And sorry guys, I'm out of the frame. I tried to fix that. And then once I get closer to the end, or if you're making these, once you get closer to the end, as long as you hold these in your hand, you can do them by hand at the very end. Or at least that's what I found easier for myself to do. And also, as you're going, with some of them I did use like a dab of glue. Like if I started wrapping and it was starting to get difficult or be difficult. And see, right there at the very end is the little section you're going to glue. And I kind of try to make sure it was all even. And here we go with the glue. And I used a very generous amount of glue on these, y'all. I did not glue sparingly. I made sure it wasn't going to seep through to the front, and I used a dab right there on the end to keep it. Okay, I got this little frame and picture thing from the Dollar Tree. And I took it apart.
Piece of scrapbooking
That scrapbooking paper come from Hobby Lobby. And like everybody knows, it's a quarter a sheet normally. This is a back of a box. I did try to put the scrapbooking paper down without using it, and you could see the wording through it. So, yeah, use something to, if you have another plain piece of scrapbooking paper or just any kind of paper that's not gonna, it's gonna kind of be a filter between the two where you can't see the wording. And it's a 9, I'm showing you here, it's a 9x9. So I cut the scrapbooking, and that, you know, people like throw away their boxes, and those boxes, you know, are pretty thick little cardboard stuff. It does come in handy, you know, using those for quite a many things. And I took this double-sided sticky tape I had found at the Dollar Tree and went all the way around both the box and then the scrapbooking paper and put them to each other and then attached them to the front of the sign. But you could use Mod Podge, you could use the glue sticks, and if I had went back to do this again, I would have used glue stick. But that's okay. Hindsight's 20/20, right? So it takes me quite a minute to get through this gluing, this taping down section, but I wanted to make sure I had got it in there well. And I don't know why I was so concerned about getting it all the way around it. And as you see, I made some little pink ones, and I thought I would kind of do every other one, but then once I got it put together, I really liked just the red by itself. Okay. And we're still gluing, or still taping over y'all. And I'm sorry that my hair keeps, I had a migraine. And as anybody knows with a migraine, that putting your hair up is not, 99% of the time my hair is up and pulled back or some way out of my face. And anybody that knows that's ever had a migraine knows that you don't want anything touching your hair or your head. And even though I think at one part while I'm doing this, I realized that I didn't even have my light turned on out there to even see what I was doing, really. Or my filming light. Okay, I seriously think I've got enough tape. I don't know why I just didn't do long strips instead of like little bitty pieces. As I said, migraines they're not very friendly. You don't think like totally straight, and I was really trying to get this finished. I think I'm going to put a couple more pieces of tape. Sorry that y'all have had to watch me tape and tape and tape some more. So I tape that down. And then after I get that taped down, we're going to attach the scrapbooking paper to the top of this. That way you can't actually see any of the words through that. I don't know why I just taped it down to that and didn't just use the box in the back. And yeah, like I said, it's probably 12:30 at night, I think, when I was doing this. Oh, and y'all, this is so funny. I'm trying to use this. I think this is meant to be for people who do like scrapbooking. This double-sided tape dispenser. Yeah, I ended up breaking it. I mean, I can still get the tape out of it, but ended up, yeah, it didn't start rolling onto itself inside of itself, or ever how the thing is supposed to work, and then it ended up breaking. But that's okay. I mean, the tape does come out of it, so. But then I had got most of it put on and realized that it's got like a film. Once you break it and you're having to use it like this, it's got the extra, I think once it goes inside of itself, it pulls that layer off the top, and yeah. So I have to go back and pull the layer of plastic off the back of it. I mean, and I like the tape. It works out pretty good, but because you can do long sections of it, and it's not quite as thick as the Scotch double-sided tape, but get all the backing pulled off of that. Oh, and this the film that's on the other side of that. Oh, I think that when you see me quit for just a second, I am fighting with that stuff, y'all. I cannot get it off of my finger and to my trash can that's down below my desk. And yeah, finally I just put it on my table. I'm like, I'll get it off up here. So I decided I'm going to quit using that thing and try to go back to my the Scotch tape. Okay, and here we're putting down the scrapbooking paper. And y'all, this is really, I'm trying to debate on which way I want my lines to go, if I want them to go vertically or horizontal. And it's a 9x9. I don't know why I was so worried about it. I could have done it either way and it wouldn't have mattered. But I didn't realize that, or I wasn't thinking. Like I said, it was way early. Way late, way early. And then I love those things that you gotta be really careful of. Those will pop back out. Or pull out. And then I take the little roses I've made. And I had made 23 or 24. I used 23 or 24 of those. And I'm showing you the felt. It's just the 20 something cent felt that I had purchased from, well, no, that felt might have actually been some felt I had gotten at the Dollar Tree, but I know I've got some felt from Walmart, so it could have been the 20 cent, 28 cent, I think it is, a sheet from Walmart. And then just go through. And then some of these little hearts I made, they do look a little different because if you take and scallop the very edge of your when you're going in a spiral, if you take and scallop the edge or make a little, section around it, it will make your roses look different. So some of these, or do them in like a zigzag pattern, and so some of them I did that way, some of them I did totally round, and they're so simple and easy to make. And I make some of the cutest shadow boxes, decor pieces. I've not quite mastered making paper roses yet. I'm trying to learn how to do that. And you can make those with your Cricut, but I haven't. I'm showing you that a lot of them end up being an inch. I think that big round one that I've got over there to the side, it's one I had did, like one of the first ones I did, and it's a little bit bigger than an inch, but most of them are close to an inch to a little over an inch, and maybe a little over an inch. And then I had laid them down in the position I wanted them, and just picked each one up one by one, and glued them down. And then I went up one side to the, like, I think the fourth line up, and stopped, and then went back up the other side to the close to that fourth line and stopped, because I wanted it to kind of look symmetrical and kind of give it the same. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of frame, not too bad. Trying to figure out which one I want right there in the very center, because that one's kind of like a focal point. And I don't want too many of the same ones that look identical next to each other, so kind of. And I think out of all the crafts I've been doing lately, my husband said this was one of the ones that he really liked the best. Like, out of all the ones I've done, he's like, that is really pretty. And I wished I would have left it just black and not had distressed it in the pink, because the simplicity of it just looked a lot more farmhouse. But I mean, if I leave it, in my living room where I've got it now, and I don't like it, I might go back over it, just sand it down, because I've used one of these little frames before and didn't like the way it had turned out or whatever, and had sanded it down, and or not really sanded it down, like, sanded it, but like took most of the paint, the chalk paint, off of it, or whatever I had used, and it did just fine. I don't know what this stuff is made out of. I mean, it's not wood, but it didn't tear it up. So as long as you're not taking, I mean, of course I sanded it by hand and didn't use a sander, but just a piece of sandpaper I'd purchased from the Dollar Tree, of course. And we got all that done. And I've taken this little screwdriver and kind of put marks in it, so that way when I do distress it, the paint will like stick into the lines. But you don't have to do this. This is kind of optional. It's not really something that's just my preference. And I've taken, well, of course, my camera had cut off at 1 o'clock in the morning, but I took the red, I think it's the lacquer, yep, the lacquer, and the Waverly White, and mixed them together to make that pretty pink. It's like a, and I probably had the ballet slipper, but I thought this might have been a little bit darker than that, because you can always add a little more red and make it, and with it going on the black frame, I thought, well, I might need to make it a little darker. And I painted that black and distressed it. And then I'm just going to hot glue that on. And lay it where I want it, and then stick a little glue underneath it. And that way, you know, if I get to where I don't like the love on it, I can always take it off if I don't add way too much glue, and kind of cut off the remnants of glue. Or if I get to where I want something else on it, you can always change it out. It's kind of the reason I didn't add 2 tons of glue, because that felt is very forgiving. Like, but I think that is so adorable. I can't wait to decorate in my living room with it. And get that one finished. Alrighty. Okay, and on to our second project. I took this little I Need Coffee and the little gnome. I took this, oh goodness, I think it's in a pack of 3 or 4 things from the Dollar Tree. I took these little, they were the clear crystals, and I took a Sharpie marker in pink and red, and I think it's lavender color or like a light pink. And then I'm using some of this glitter paper from the Dollar Tree by Jot. Hot glue. And I did the same trick I had did before. I used the a box, a Christmas box, instead of painting. I just thought it'd be much easier. And I took and scraped off all the wording with that. You can use, and I'm sorry that a little out of frame there, and you can use the other things, like the little tools from the Dollar Tree to scrape, the scrapers, but I couldn't find mine at that moment, so that little tool worked. And I had cleaned off all the little remnants of the wording, and hot glued this into my back in. And you know, I wasn't going to take this out, but it was already loose. It was had already popped out even before I had even did anything to it. So I just went ahead and took it on out, and then took but on some of those you don't have to do that. So there's the little red, and a lot of people don't know that this is sticky. It's like vinyl. It's got a backing, and it will stick to stuff. It says paper. It does not say that it is sticky. So I attach that to that, and I'm going to trim it down. I got a little bit sideways there, and I had pried that little gnome off the little heart using that little tool also. And I positioned mine up a little higher, so they're little crystals, and I think I'm using some hearts too that I had purchased from the Dollar Tree that come in a pack over with the think I found them with the Valentine's Day stuff. And I'm just making sure that it'll still move around once I've got it sandwiched in there. Picking off, I'm pretty sure I'm picking off hot glue off the frame. Where I had glued it in, and I cannot stand to see the little hot glue hairs, strings. And here I have laid in the little crystals and the little hearts where I want them. I try to lay everything down normally when I'm doing a project, and I'll just lay it down, get it where I want it, and then I'll go back in and hot glue it and reposition it. And then I'm going to move the little gems up, but I can't leave them there. I'm going to have to move them down because they won't sit on top of the, just realized that the crystals would be too high up. But I can leave the little flat ones, and I try to make sure that I get them all turned to where the color side is. See, I have to flip that one back over. So then I'm going to take, sorry guys, take hot glue and run it around. And I went all the way around it with the hot glue to start with, and then like I ended up having to go back and reinforce it a little bit because one side didn't adhere well. So take note, glue one side down, then pull back a little bit. It was a little difficult because having those crystals in there, it wasn't real easy. So then once I get everything glued down, it was really, really cute. I love, love, love these little gnomes and the little gnome hearts and the signs. They turned out super cute this year. Dollar Tree did an excellent job on these. So I'm hoping to do some more projects because I bought like I think 2 of these and 2 of the other ones, and I love them. I didn't find any of the big gnomes though. I wished I had, because I would have loved to have done something with that. Made a wreath or done something that would have been so adorable. So I want to take this time to thank everybody for liking and sharing. Oh, I trimmed that up too. Sorry, guys. But for liking and sharing my videos and being a subscriber. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me out. We get all the little, I like to trim up after I get the project like glued back down, because that makes it stable. And then if you've just got just a little bit like that, the edge, it's just really easier to get it off after you've got it all glued down. And also I have a Facebook, and I'm on Instagram also. It is just so super cute. My 5-year-old loves it. He thinks it's so, like, because he can pick it up and shake it. So it's so cute. So here they are finished. There's the little love. And here's the little gnome. So that's all for today. But if you like my video, please consider subscribing. And thank you for watching. And check me out on other forms of social media.